Hey everyone, I'm Cassi Cluff and my agency is The Road Home. The Road Home is a nonprofit agency that's been operating in and around Salt Lake City for 100 years. We operate emergency shelters, permanent supportive housing, and other emergency and housing services. The mission of The Road Home is to help people step out of homelessness and back into our community. All of our programs fall under shelter, housing, or administration. And then the Road Home's guiding principles are safety, compassion, access, stewardship, and self-determination. Then the overall goal is to work with others in the community to make homelessness rare, brief, and non-reoccurring. I wanted to share with you all a little bit about the values because this is something I learned on day one that kind of stuck out to me. Our values are equal treatment, compassion, respect, and dignity, and I think that really speaks to the culture of the Road Home. Social problems. We work to provide housing stability, which directly impacts other social issues such as access to income, employment, education, and receiving all types of services. Social policies, laws, and practices. Obviously, there are a lot of policies affecting the client population with people who have experienced homelessness or who are still feeling the impacts of homelessness. So just to name a few, policies regarding grant allocations, funding for disability, food stamps, Medicare and Medicaid, housing vouchers, harm prevention, and maintenance of shelters and support programs, and a lot more. Recently, Utah has passed a few different bills in the interest of combating homelessness, including HB 499 for maintaining additional beds during the winter months, and HB 347, which created a homelessness council for Utah and an office for the state, as well as a position for the homeless state coordinator. And that one went into effect, I believe, about 2 years ago. Service delivery model. So my program is Palmer Court, and Palmer Court used to be a Holiday Inn before the Road Home acquired it in 2009. It was then renovated into 201 different units, like apartments, for individuals and families. So as a permanent supportive housing facility, people who live there pay either no rent or a few $100s. It just kind of depends on the voucher that unit is for. And then with permanent supportive housing, we have case managers that manage every single family or individual. And we use trauma-informed care in the housing first model. With trauma-informed care, a lot of that is the motivational interviewing piece, because clients may be more or less willing to do what needs to be done in order to maintain their housing. And then the housing first model is an approach that basically says that people need to have their basic human needs met, like food and secure housing, before you can attend to anything less critical, like acquiring a job or fighting an addiction. And then my supervisor, who used to be the supervisor just over the case managers at Palmer, she is now transitioning to a new role as the Director of Supportive Housing Services as a whole. And then the other teams at Palmer, we have property management. They handle, obviously, the property, but also concerns about conduct with the residents. And then for security, we have a third-party security team that is on site 24/7. They perform rounds and check-ins with residents and staff as needed. And then we also have emergency services that are accessible to Palmer at all times. This is our leadership. We have Michelle Flynn. She is our COO. She just transitioned into being our CEO. She was previously our executive director. And then we have Sarah Strang. She just transitioned into being our executive director from being our deputy director of crisis services. And then we have Michelle Eining. She is our chief deputy director. This is kind of the rest of our leadership. I don't know if you guys can really make out this graphic, but you can see that Michelle Flynn is at the top still, and that has her previous position, but this is still kind of the general layout. And then underneath, Melissa is my direct supervisor, Cerise Nord. This is the leadership for our board of trustees. We've got Becky Pickle, Christina Huntsman Durham, Keb Brady, and Greg Johnson. And then funding. About 70% of funding for the road home comes from the state. So obviously everything that we do has to be pretty closely monitored. The other 30% is from private funders, sponsors, and donations. And then financial history for almost the last 15 years is available on the road home's website, which is just for accountability and transparency. This is just some of our community partners. A lot of what we do depends heavily on having access to services that we get through our community partners. So, pretty cool. And then for accountability, we report everything that we do and every service that we provide to HIMIS, which is the Homeless Management Information System. And we use that to track data regarding the people being served and how funds are being utilized. So if somebody were receiving X service, it comes from X grant or X funding opportunity there. And that's just for accountability and recording the impact. And then our audits are performed both within an agency and by the state and funders. So because so many people can see what we put into HIMIS, we have to be pretty careful about confidentiality and just what goes into assessments and what goes into case notes and that type of thing. And that's it. Thank you so much.